Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Business Spotlight. I have Andy Prosser with me this morning. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you, Stephen. Glad to be here.
Good to have you. Okay, so Andy, you've got a couple of businesses in the tech space. Do you want to give us a brief introduction to them?
Yep. Okay. So my main business is known as the Executive Technologists, and we're a managed service provider, which means we help businesses with their technology and service that things break and such like, just to ensure that your business keeps functioning. And the main reason for that, and why you would want to engage a managed service provider, it's like your tech guy, right? Is because, well, when the technology stuff that we're using today stops, so does your business. So that's what we're trying to fill. Now, we focus on the Microsoft 365 space, but the one thing that we are trying to differentiate on is trying to make it people-centric. So we describe ourselves as a people-focused tech company, and we help people use tech to grow their business. That's the focus. And when you take it from that lens, then we can put away the cool, shiny toys that techies like me usually get excited with, and have conversations around business. The other one is one that I'm a co-founder of, and I was involved. It's called Trade-Off, and the idea is to build a game platform where people could go through different scenarios to simulate life, make decisions, and understand the impacts of those decisions from your financial future, as well as other relationships and things like that. So, do you go and get that car loan with the high interest, and you don't go and also get the NRMA or the RAC check on the car and find out it's a lemon? Suddenly you're saddled with a $10,000 loan, and you've got a vehicle that's not roadworthy. Right, so it's understanding the impacts of compounding interest, of why you should put away and save, and all that. It's a fascinating solution. Still in the early stages of development, and there's a lot of conversation around where it could be used and how it could help to do good.
Very interesting, fascinating. When you're using games like that,
Gamification. It's gamification. That's the word that we use.
Yeah, you said it better than me. So a couple of businesses in the tech space. What was your have you always been an entrepreneur, or have you come from something else into
No.
business
It's interesting. So I started sort of my career, I suppose, when I left school. I went to school in WA, and then I didn't do very well at school. So that I got my third choice for my university, which happened to be the School of Mines in Kalgoorlie, which is 600 k's inland, big desert. It's all about mining. So you think, well, how does someone who used to dig holes and blow stuff up get into tech? As it happened, the college I was living on had Microsoft Access, that they wanted to go and develop a student management system. The lecturer at the uni had no time, and I went, hey, I know a bit about computers. I went down that path. Ironically, though, even though this set me up for creating my own business, because we sold it to the other colleges throughout the state,
Cool.
I didn't see that as a pathway. My schooling, my education, my background didn't see that as a pathway. So I went, no, I'm not going to create a business. I'm going to go get a day job. That's the path to success. So for the next 20 plus years, I was jumping from consulting agencies, corporates, government agencies, contracting, all that sort of stuff, trying to find my place. And it wasn't until about 2016 that I was exited from quite a senior role inside of Optus.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, I don't know if I can work for a big corporate anymore. It just doesn't feel right. So I've been on a journey to try to explore and create my own future and build my own business, starting with the premise of, how hard can it be?
I like that. Okay, so if you take yourself now and go back to that person, what do you wish you knew then that you've learned?
I wish I knew how hard it would be and how much you would need to know, not about what your specialty is, what your skill is, right?
Yeah.
But all of the other business-centric stuff, your accounting, your bookkeeping, your marketing, your sales, how to create desirable products, even how to define your own niche and why that's important.
Yep.
Don't just say, "Hey, I'm a tech guy. I can fix all your things." That's how I started, right? I can fix all your things. Don't start there. Pick a problem, pick a lane, and pick one thing you're going to target, and get really good at that. That's what I wish I had known.
Nice. And so obviously you've learned that now. Was that by trial and error, or are you
Yeah, trial and error. Partly with the pandemic and stuff. When I started, I launched. So I was using the business as a contracting shell. So this is the exec techs or the executive technologist.
Yep.
And it was going to be positioned as more of a coaching business to executive teams who don't necessarily speak tech, and they've got tech teams over here and they don't talk. So I was going to be sitting in the middle and going, "Oi, you guys, you need to talk same language. Stop BSing to each other. Break this stuff down and put it in language that people understand, rather than 45 minutes of waffle and scaring the hell out of the executive to drop $5 million on something that didn't know that they just bought." I wanted to stop that. That's what it started on.
Okay.
And then late 2019, that's when I was going to launch into this. I had a number of contracts lined up, and then Australia started burning. Oh, no one's interested in talking about that stuff. They're busy watching whether or not their house is going to get burnt down, or their holiday house is going to get lost or something. And I thought, oh, okay, sweet, no worries. I'll just sort of slowly bake along. And then the pandemic hit, and then no one was interested in that. They just wanted to fix their stuff so it worked, because they're getting all these people at home. And what does that look like?
Wow.
It's like pivot again. And then I had this realization about halfway through the pandemic that the organizational groups that are really being left behind are being taken advantage of is small business.
Right.
Especially in the Microsoft space, where I've got 30 odd years experience. To engage a Microsoft consultant from an agency that was designed to service the enterprise market would cost you $2,500 a day for that body to be in your office.
Wow.
Small business can't afford that.
Nope.
So I thought, I'm going to solve that. How can I deliver that level service and keep the lights on so they don't have to speak tech? They just need to say, "It broke, can you fix?" But also give them the tools, capability, knowledge, and experience to use those things they're paying for to grow their business.
Nice. And so
here we are. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's also, so since that realization, what's been the effect on the business?
So a couple of things happened. Once I had that realization, Microsoft 365, small business, sub 50 staff, a focus or an alignment around finance and engineering and architecture and services orientated business, because that's my experience. That gave me a niche. It gave me a focus of what I was doing. And I fought long and hard for that descriptor of an MSP. I didn't want to be a managed service provider. I refused to admit that that's what I was, and that's what we were building. The moment I got over myself and then put that label that others could recognize, it suddenly gave me an anchor, if you like. It gave an anchor in the minds of my clients, an ideal client, but it also gave an anchor for me on how to build, because there's so much knowledge and experience and information around how to build an MSP. So I could reuse other people's work. But then I went, well, okay, do I want to be the same as everyone else? There's thousands of them out there, by the way.
Yep.
Because I had this other idea that I wanted to go and help people use all of this confusing stuff. And if you've seen and used Microsoft 365, you'll know that there's so much capability and people just scratch the surface, 1 to 2% of its capabilities. So how do I lift that? So I thought, well, MSP is the base. That keeps the lights on, and it solves the problem and takes away the pain for people, because they can stop thinking about it. It just works. As in IT just works. Now Once I've got that, the nail on the foot pulled out, I can have the conversations I want to have, which is, so how do we use this stuff to make your business, to grow your business? How do we solve some of these problems? How do we engage with your clients better? They're the conversations I want.
Nice. And you're having those?
So I created a vehicle that allowed me to do it.
Yep.
And gave myself space to then get people to trust, and I can start doing it.
Excellent. Excellent. So obviously
And
a valuable realization.
yeah, look, it took a while. And even just getting the simple language, when people ask me, like in a party, what do you do? Why I help people use tech to create to grow their business.
Good elevator pitch.
12-year-old can understand it.
Yep.
Wouldn't necessarily know what it means, but that's not the point. The point is for people to go, interesting. How do you do that?
Yeah. Well done. So you said you've got 5 team members in the organization. I imagine they are have to be somewhat technically proficient. How are you?
No, surprisingly not.
No?
So I've got one main tech person. I've got another person who's I say 5 in the business. So one of them's a contractor. He helps me with project management, delivery of large projects.
Gotcha.
I'm technical. So what I do is I separate those roles. So for large projects, I have someone else who's basically managing my time, right? So I can focus on some of the tech stuff as well as my other tech to go and deliver. Because if I'm doing tech, I can't manage myself and time. I need someone else to kick the thing along and pull me out of the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Okay.
My wife helps out from a financial perspective in terms of doing accounting and the books, and I have another person who's focusing on sales, marketing, and lead generation.
That's a good setup. What's your how have you found trying to get team members over the last year to 18 months? And if you've done it well, what have been some of the ideas?
Look, I'm going to be honest, with the way business is at the moment and the costs, finding someone local is really hard, right? And incredibly expensive, right?
Yeah.
So I've outsourced that. So one of my the project manager, for example, he's semi-retired, someone I worked with a long time ago. So he's happy to do the odd jobs and consulting work that we do.
Yep.
So that's more from a personal relationship and a long-term relationship with that person. The other two, there's 2 of them. They're offshore resources. So that helps with financials, and it also gives that flexibility if that as we grow, we can add more people on using that same model.
Yeah.
But if we have to shrink because of cost pressures or anything like that, it's an easier conversation. It's still hard because they're still people and you're still impacting their lives, but it is an easier conversation.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we see a lot of
and one's obviously the wife, so
yeah. Yeah, and like even that reaching out to your network. I mean, we see a lot of business owners just banging their head against the wall, going, "Nothing's happening on Seek. Nothing's happening on Seek." So, just trying different things, different ways.
Look, the other way we've done it is by reaching out to business partners and going, well, okay, so we're in this lane. Is there anyone else in our space that does similar things? So there's one fellow I work with. He has a training company, delivers training and education for people. So if a client comes to me and says, or even a prospect comes to me and says, hey, look, you're in the Microsoft space, you're teaching people how to use this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can you deliver a training course? And I go, well, actually, no, I can't, but let me introduce you to my partner here. And they can do that. And I'm giving them work and they give work back the other way as well. I've got another fellow. He's also runs an MSP, different market than I operate in. And we trade between. Sometimes there's a particular client that is not serviceable for me, so I give to him and vice versa. But he also delivers hardware. We're not set up and geared for that. So he can take that on for some of our clients. Others who deliver different capabilities in the same space. So it's not by limiting by what staff I have that can do it. It's who in my partner network that I trust that can deliver that outcome to solve the problem for the client.
Yeah, really good. I like that. And a lot of people can learn from that. Is just that question, who else, rather than just staying in your little square. Yeah, that's good. So
yeah, and then you become this trusted center. You're the connector to this. So they come to you and ask you first, and then they go, "Oh, okay, let me introduce you to so and so." I'm not getting anything out of that. I might never ever get anything back from that relationship, but it's more about I'm helping that client. Guess who they're going to come back to next?
very good, very good. Where do you see the and I'll invert this. What do you see as the challenges ahead for your business?
So a lot of challenges, like any business, it's the worst thing for any business to become is the best kept secret in their industry. That
Yeah.
is the worst place to be. And that, I feel, is where my business has been the last 12 months. But that was partly because I was learning in terms of how we develop our products. Now, we're a services-based business, but we sell product.
Mm-hmm.
We've productized our services. They're all delivered as a package deal. There's all these different things that we wrap together. So, that's number one thing that you need to do. Productize your stuff. Even services can be productized. But the biggest challenge there is that how do you scale that? And by scale, I mean two things. Number one, how do you grow your lead pipeline? And then once you've grown your lead pipeline and you're getting more and more sales and you're making it more efficient and effective on delivering those sales, how do you then onboard and keep your current client base? How do you grow that client base? And how do you ensure that you're continuously delivering value? So ours is a subscription model. You pay X amount of dollars per month per person to gain access to our services, right? It's a fixed price. We don't charge extra. There are project services that we can add. But for us, it's like, do I just want to sign someone up for 12 months or 3 years or whatever we sign them up for and just say, so long as we do enough so that they don't get upset with us, is that good enough? I actually think it's not. I think we have to keep looking for opportunities to add more and more value so that not only are they looked after, but they switch from being happy with our service to telling every freaking person they know.
Yep. Raving fans. Have you got a plan for that?
Yeah. So part of the plan is by, bringing in new capability within the business so that we can actually exploit the capabilities of the platform that we're supporting, so that we can have more conversations of, oh, we're trying to do X, can you help? And we say, yes, I'll get so-and-so to come in and work with you to go and solve that. By having them internal, we manage the cost. Going external, we lose the money, we lose the revenue, we lose the cost. So it's about growing that. The second, the other aspect is obviously growing the marketing and lead engine. Even doing simple things of reaching out to my first level connections in LinkedIn and going, who is in my target market, and having a conversation, starting it with, are you a Google player or you're a Microsoft player? What team are you in? Simple. But that's starting conversations. It all starts from a conversation. It's not getting sales. Some might, some won't, but you've got to learn about people first. And the next thing is developing better ways and more effective ways of delivering our services, making it easier, and finding new capabilities we can roll in by partnerships, by new products we can bring in that might have a small cost to us, but we can absorb it and then deliver more capability for the clients just because they're part of us. For example, launching a client-only community using Yammer, which is part of the Microsoft suite. Looks like Facebook, but it's a less cluttered and less noisy area. It's very focused on what we do and saying, this is free. This is for you guys. You can learn how we do stuff. We share tips. We share stuff. Adding in and solving problems that all our clients have, like with email signatures. Simple problem, but how do you ensure that you get consistency across your organization so that everyone has the same signature? You can change seasonally, quickly, to say it's Easter time and put in a new banner. You got a new campaign, put in a new banner, and everyone gets it instantly. Use that real estate.
Yeah, nice, very nice. And where's the business in your mind going to be in the next 2 to 3 years? your business? What do you see for it?
My business, next 2 to 3 years, we're going to be significantly larger than we are today. I'm expecting to have about 15 staff on board. Revenues, significantly higher. So 2 to 3 mil revenue. That's the targets.
Mhm.
I've got a moonshot in terms of where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. Delivering capability into clients that just makes it easier for them to interact with tech people.
Yeah, nice. I like a big goal.
We've got a recurring revenue model, and so it's about growing that.
Yeah.
It's trying to add so much value that our clients never want to leave because they're just getting so much back.
Love it. It's a great goal. And just lastly, where can people find you if they're looking for you or for services?
Nice simple thing is my name. Just Google Andy Prosser. Pretty much every hit on there is going to be related to me. Some might be my sporting. I used to be a cyclist. So Strava is going to be there, but LinkedIn, my website comes up. That's the easiest way to find me. So Andy Prosser, you can find me.
Yep.
Trying to spell the executive technologist gets a little hard. If you can work that one out and get that mouthful, even our short, the exectex.com, right, is hard to spell out.
Well, there will be a link in the video, so it's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Honestly, just reach out and say hello. Don't start with a diatribe of all the stuff you sell. Reach out and say, "Hi, Andy, I saw your video," or I'd like to know more about what you're doing. That will get a conversation started.
Awesome. And make sure you're in the not the Google team, the Microsoft team.
Look, there's a lot of different things that people can do. People in the Microsoft team, pro tip, right? If you're a Microsoft person, using 365, go set up a Google account with your email address. Why? Because people in Team Google are going to share documents with you with your email address. If you've already got a Google account, you've just made it so much easier. And it's free.
Thank you. We'll end with that. Thank you for your time today. And enjoy the rest of your week.
Cheers. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Stephen.